like I said, it was in March of 2013 in the Chicago area, and it's just this guy hid in the backseat of a car. He didn't know who was there. He was just trying to get somewhere, apparently. And so when the person sat down in the car, happened to be a guy, the criminal raised his head, and the cop was like, I don't know who you are. You're threatening me? Bam. I mean, I don't know exactly how it played out, but that was the story. And it has very little in common with the killer in the backseat story, except that person in backseat.
Right, well, yeah.
It did not end well for person in backseat.
Right? That logistics. Oh, boy.
Some people think they're inspired by carjackings, but carjackings, the overwhelming majority, the assailant forces you to stop your car and then takes your car. Now, there's very little of this lurking in the backseat bit. So, that's the killer in the backseat. And like I said, it's one of my favorites because it's one of the spookier stories. It appeared in the movie Urban Legend, the original movie, with Brad Dourif playing the gas station attendant, which Brad Dourif is famous for playing creepy people. And yeah, they say this legend is sexist to the core. The prey is always female, and both the evil fiend and the rescuer are males. There are no exceptions to this typecasting. Even though men are far more often the victims of killing by strangers than women are, both male figures are seen as powerful. The fiend for his evilness and his mad intent, the rescuer for his coolness and knowing what to do, and his ease in dispatching the fiend. And that the idea is that the warnings of the woman misunderstood as aggression led to a surprising turn of events, so it sort of implies that women don't know what they're doing behind the wheel of the car. It just... Because of that, I can't count this as one of my favorites anymore. Yeah, it's kind of spooky, but it's also really sexist, and I'm not good with that because, well, I've got a lady and daughters, and I don't really agree with sexy. It did get an interesting update in 1999 through early 2002. They began naming gas stations in the story. And a commonly used gas station was Quick Trip.
Fun.
Of course.
Well, but see, Quick Trip is the kind of... Not everybody knows what a Quick Trip is, but Quick Trips are amazing gas stations that we get to have here in the Midwest. And Quick Trip employees actually are the mother beepers who would come out and pull your butt out of the car and take you inside and hide you, because I don't know how much they pay their employees, but they do a really good job at least pretending that they actually give a crap whether you live or die.
Other brands mentioned included Quick Stop, which that's from Clerks, isn't it?
No, it's a real gas station. Mm-hmm.
And Sit-Go.
See, I'm surprised they don't do the come and go, because that would be my go-to every time.
Now,
you guys want to hear a Quick Trip story?
No, not really.
I want to hear a Quick Trip story. I was the one in the mess.
You did. You broke the machine.
You broke the coffee machine, and I had to have Starbucks that day. Thank you for breaking the machine.
Poor baby.
I said thank you. I was that poor baby. I acknowledge that she did me a solid.
Can I tell it?
Sure, tell the story.
Okay. So it was a school day. Mom was driving in the car with me. We were doing our normal. Because we signed in late because we didn't know how summer school worked. Or I didn't. Mom didn't. Thus we. But Mom was driving me to school. She was like, "Can you go inside and get a coffee for your father?" I was like, "Sure, I don't know why not." Me, my poor little self, not remembering that it was to push down to get the coffee. I pulled it up.
She broke the machine.
I pulled it up, and I was like, dang, this is hard. How is it not coming out yet? I tore it off. I stood there like a lost puppy dog for like 5 minutes. I was like, what do I do? The janitor lady came up behind me, and she was like, do you need help with that? And I was like, yes, I'm sorry. And she was like, she was trying to fix it.
And she broke it worse.
She broke it worse. It spilled all over the floor. It spilled all over the place. I was like, I stood there for like, what was it, like 15 minutes?
Way too long.
15, 20 minutes. Just way too long. And the mom comes in with Lexi. Lexi? Yeah, Lexi was there. Yeah, you came in with Lexi. You're like, what are you oh my god, I am so sorry. What did you do? Like, she was laughing at me, too.
Baby, we had to laugh at you. You were such a mess.
I looked like a lost puppy dog. I was like...
Bless your heart.
Now, a new addition to the killer in the backseat story is you'll occasionally see it delivered as a warning from a Corporal Daniel Brubb, who's an Interpol agent at the Royal Canadian Mounted Police Headquarters in Ottawa. And the reason you'll see it is because somebody and he's an Interpol agent, he works in Canada, mostly what he does is filing. He doesn't really, because Interpol isn't Canadian law enforcement, he doesn't really have any law enforcement powers he can use in the country, but he can help them find Interpol suspects, right? Anyway, so you'll see a lot of times he's the guy quoted because back in 2003, he sent out an email asking anybody if they'd heard anything about this killer in the backseat business because he'd received several reports. And eventually he figured out that it's just an urban legend, but because he sent that email around, it gets passed around like he's the guy warning everybody to try to make it seem more real.
Gotta love the creative people in the social media nowadays, don't you?
Some people are just liars.
So, now we're going to go to something that's not scary, and I actually picked this because I thought Laura would dig it.
Dig it.
And I think Krista might find it funny.
Okay.
I'm waiting.
It's called The Baby Train.
Baby train.
Okay.
So, The Baby Train is based off of the same premise as a claim that a baby boom occurred after the 1965 New York City blackout.
What in the world is a baby boom?
Go ahead.
A baby boom is what happens where you have a bunch of babies born in a span of time where you normally wouldn't have quite so many babies born. So,
like right now, a bunch of babies are either being born or getting ready to be born because of COVID. Because people were stuck in their houses and had lots of free time.
Yeah, I got that.
Okay.
Well, now, there's an urban legend that says 1965 New York City's blackout, 9 months later a bunch of babies were born.
Right.
I don't know how true that is, but it seems not to be, or at least it's implied not to be. Now, the baby train is very similar. Baby train is somewhere in a city, there's a train that goes by, usually at 5 o'clock in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning, something like that, right? And this train wakes everybody on its route up. And it wakes them up. It's too early to get up, but it's too late to go back to sleep because you might oversleep at that point. So according to the urban legend, these people that get woken up at 5 or 6 in the morning by this train decide to
fool around.
Yeah, decide to get a little loving in. And so, because of that, babies are born 9 months later, and usually it's told as if, like, in this area, there's a lot of kids because of this train going by all the time. Now,
it is humanity. This is how humanity is created.
That's
Stop.
right.
Well, here's the thing. It isn't true, or doesn't seem to be. Mostly it's not true.
You know, I've never heard of... I don't hear trains at 6 a.m. waking me up.
Now, what this urban legend seems to say is that when the usual patterns of home life are disrupted, adults will spontaneously turn to sex as a form of entertainment.
It's a ginger.
Or as J. Richard Udry wrote, it is evidently pleasing to many people to fantasize that when people are trapped by some immobilizing event which deprives them of their usual activities, most will turn to copulation.
Well, you know,
COVID.
It's cheap.
An example, this winter made the rounds in 1985. At the census office in Canberra, which is in Australia, they were working out figures and statistics for the last census, and they found out that there's this little town on the coast, not too far north of Sydney, where the birth rate was 3 times the average for the rest of Australia. This was so unusual, they sent out a government statistician there to try to find out about it. When he got there, it was true, all right. There were bloody kids everywhere.
But
not bloody. It's a Australian phrase.
Yeah.
I know, but why would you put it before kids?
Because it's like you know how some people drop the F-bomb before,
right?
You know, those loud effing kids, that sort of thing.
So
bloody
it's
is the same.
Like
dang.
Yeah.
Bloody H-E double hockey stick.
Yeah, exactly. Even the local school had these temporary classrooms all over the place to fit all the kids in, and they had a special maternity wing at the local hospital. The guy was a bit mystified for a couple of days. People there didn't seem different from folk in any of the other little towns around the place. It took him about 3 nights there to work out what was happening. The town was on the main railway line. The road crossed the line just north of town and then crossed back about a half-mile south again. The Kyogle mail train used to reach there and go through about 4:30 every morning. When it hit the road crossing, it used to blow its whistle very loud and wake everybody up. And just when they'd be dropping off again, it'd blow the whistle for the other crossing and wake them all up again. Well, it was too early to get up, but it was hardly worthwhile going back to sleep again, so they all had to fill the time somehow. So that's the baby train.
That's cute.
Yeah, like I said...
but it's cute.
It's a cute little story. And there may be some place where it does raise the amount of babies, but I'm going to say it's probably not a statistically significant anomaly. Maybe 1% or something like that.
Sure.
Now, we're going to go back to a scary one, the boyfriend's death. It's another one I quite like.
Which females killing their mans?
No, not females killing their men. So here's how this one goes, right? We're going to call the girl Susie, right? Susie and her boyfriend are driving along back roads. Car runs out of gas.
Beautiful.
Susie's boyfriend says, I'm going to walk and get us to the nearest gas station. I'll get us gas. I'll bring it back. You stay in the car.
Manly man.
Uh-huh.
You stay in the car where you'll be safe. Lock the doors.
Lock the door.